Hi everyone, and welcome back. Tom Slivick with Dennis Agar. How you doing, Dennis?
Good, very good, Tom.
Good to see you. You drove up from where?
Just from Stockton.
Okay, just from Stockton. I thought you were located out of Stockton. That's
Yes.
District 10.
District 10.
That's where we find ourselves here in Amador County, right? District 10.
District 10.
Okay, 88. How was it there?
It was good. We had our construction going on right there in Jackson Valley.
What is that construction? As long as what's going on right there?
Oh, right now we are rehabilitating the existing pavement out there. It's about a 4-mile stretch. What we're building out there actually is we're widening the shoulders.
Yeah.
And rehabbing the pavement to last another 15 to 20 years. This is sorely needed out there, and we'd like to get this project done as soon as possible.
Okay.
We're going to be widening a bridge out there too at the same time, extending some culverts at that locations, and providing some turnouts.
Okay, that's a good place to be doing it too. You must have done your homework, because that is kind of a choky hold right through there. It just narrows down some, and it would feel a lot safer after Caltrans is through, I'm sure. And let's talk about you, Dennis.
Sure.
Give us how long have you been with Caltrans?
I've actually been working for Caltrans for about 24 years.
Okay.
Started when I was a student assistant while I was studying at California State University of Sacramento. And as soon as I graduated with a civil engineering degree, I came on board permanently with Caltrans.
Okay, I missed the part before the degree. What was engineering?
Student assistant. I was student assistant, and I have a BS degree in civil engineering.
Okay, civil engineering. So
Yes.
you figured you were probably wanted to build roads when you go to school?
Yes, that is correct. So
well, you'll always be busy here in California, it would seem like.
It is ongoing, and we have a lot of projects in construction today. So yes, it's been a great career, 24 years. Worked my way up since a student assistant and got various experience with construction, surveying, highway and bridge design. Along with that, was a project manager for a few years, become a supervisor for design branches. And before I got my current position as the Deputy District Director for Maintenance and Operation, I was the Deputy for Programming and Project Management in District 10, as a matter of fact. And I held that position for 4 years before I was appointed to this position, which was just 3 years ago.
Okay, well, that's great. So you have a lot to do with up here, and of course, it's a little warm out, but we're going to be having winter real soon.
Yes.
And winter, we go over the pass, Highway 88. Caltrans is involved with Highway 88, keeping it clean and everything. What's going to be happening there? Give us some.
Sure.
About winter.
As a matter of fact, my office, Maintenance and Operations, I have our maintenance crews. And so with our maintenance crews, we're really preparing for the upcoming winter. We are preparing our snow removal equipment, our graders, our snow blowers, our snow plowers, making sure that's going to be in working order when the first storm hits. So we're preparing for that. We're also preparing and trying to get our last maintenance activities we can get done before the first storm. Along up, you mentioned snow area up on 88. Right. We make sure we go out there and we put those snow poles. I don't know if everybody's seen those, but they're markers. Basically, when the snow hits and it starts filling up with snow, we want to make sure our operators. I've been up to Lake Kirkwood, Little Lake Kirkwood, a few times this summer, and they're all there. My wife says, I can't see too well in the dark, and I said, honey, those markers, I don't know how anybody can't get through there. It's almost like being in a Star Wars thing or whatever, and just stay between them. That's right, stay between them. Keep you within the roadway.
Okay, now our crews, we have, it seemed to me like we had adequate crews and everything last year. Was the budget still holding so that we'll have
well, fortunately,
everybody we need?
We do have a state budget now, and what we normally do in the wintertime, since we don't have enough resources throughout the year, we do hire up for temp help. So we get some winter hires, we staff up, especially in the snow yards that we have up in Caples Lake. We have a maintenance station there at the Capel Pass and Capel Spur. In that area, we have some maintenance yards in this area, and including Pine Grove and Peddler Hill. So we do staff up there for what we need during the wintertime. And it's hopefully, we'll be ready for if we did have another storm like we did in 2008. I don't know if anybody remember that, but we had some record snowfall at that time.
Right. And it seems to me, you must hear that people feel you do an adequate job. Do you get complaints or anything for 88?
We do get a few complaints, and a lot of that is just due to the fact that sometimes we have to close our road down.
Right.
And our priority is, number one, is safety. And not just for our highway workers, but for the traveling public that come through there. And what kind of complaints we get is that we have to shut the road down for a certain amount of time and we got to make sure it's safe before we open it back up.
The shutdown point is usually at the spur.
That is at the spur.
Okay.
And like I mentioned, in 2010, we had snow records at that time. Our maintenance crews were working through some tremendous conditions out there. Whiteout conditions. We had 100 mile per hour winds along with snow. And if our workers can't go out there and maintain the roads, then we have to shut it down until the snowstorm passes, or whenever we can get it safe for people to get through.
Well, it seems to me like you do a swell job of keeping the area clear and moving through there. And of course, when the snow accumulates, especially there in the spur, you have to close that down and take care of that. And let's see, we have a few more minutes, so why don't we continue on?
Well, you mentioned,
avalanche control.
Yes,
talk about that.
That is right there, the Carson Spur and the pass.
Right.
And I don't know if everybody knows, but that's an avalanche path. And we have to make sure that, again, that roadway is safe at all times during the wintertime. And we actually have a specialized avalanche crew and a avalanche control system that's very sophisticated. There's actually a system called GasX. And these are explosive devices that are located along the spur and the Carson Pass. And they're strategically located, and when we purposely shut down the highway, we shoot them off.
You already have charges in place? Is that what you're saying, like that?
Yes. And so when we set those off, we create an avalanche, and we go out there and remove the snow, and then we open back the road.
So you have specialists that do that with Caltrans as well, or
we have our own Caltrans personnel that's experts at this.
In the Alpine.
And actually at the Caples Lake maintenance station up there. And I've been doing it for over 20 years. And
if people haven't been up, but most people have, you've widened the area by Silver Lake, by Plaza's Resort.
Right.
And do you have statistics of the accidents of anything? Have they come down at the upper part of 88 up in that area?
Unfortunately, I don't have that information with me right now.
Okay.
At this point.
I didn't ask you to bring it, so you're safe. Okay. Now, the winter pass closures. How do you determine that? Now people get information because, in Pine Grove we have a sign, and I imagine we have other signs.
Yeah, good question.
We do have more signs past Pine Grove.
Well, yes, we do shut down some of our passes we have. We have 4 major passes that we manage. Carson Pass we just talked about. We have the Monitor Pass on Highway 89 in Alpine County. We got the Sonora Pass on Highway 108 in Calaveras. And then we also have the Ebbets Pass on Highway 4.
Okay.
And those 3 passes we actually have to shut down during the wintertime.
All right.
And you asked me questions as far as how we determine that, and I can explain that if you want me to.
It's probably got something to do with safety.
Most definitely, and it's high elevations, narrow roads, and it's very difficult.
So they do. You have a new website and stuff, or you've been putting a website up for quite a lot of time. There's a lot of information there, and that's about probably the best place, isn't it, for people to get information?
Yes.
On road closures, real quick?
That is correct. Very valuable information. We've just...
smartphones as well can access it,
Smartphones can access it. We have this new tool called QuickMap. If you go into our website, www.dot.ca.gov, you can actually go in there and use QuickMap to find out the current traffic conditions. You can get traffic speeds, you can find out where the incidents are occurring and congestion are occurring, and you can plan your trip well in advance before you go on your day's event.
Right. There certainly is an awful lot of information available out there, and I think you've done a swell job of taking a look at that site, and a
lot of good information.
Yeah, it's right there, right at your fingertips. We're going to be back with Dennis Agar, and so stay with us right here on TSPN.
You're watching Amador County's #1 news and sports leader, TSPN.
Hi, everyone. Tom Slivick back with Dennis Agar. How you doing, Dennis?
Very good,
Still
Tom.
hanging with me?
You're still here.
Okay, good. We talked a little bit about safety, but, I was on a trip, and, we go through the cone zones every now and then, the construction areas, and, we're in our car, we're going pretty quick. You want us to slow down, and everybody needs to remember there's people out there, and that car is really coming by fast. They make cars so good now you feel like you're not even moving when you're driving, and I think that's one thing that probably leads to people going too fast through those areas.
I agree with you, Tom, and Caltrans is really making a major effort in our safety campaign. We have 2 safety campaigns that we're pushing out right now,
Okay.
and have been. The very common one is slow for the cone zone,
Right.
and the other is the move over law. And in 2009, we actually were able to amend that law to not just also include Caltrans vehicles, not just emergency
Tell me
response
about
vehicles.
move. It sounds new to me. I know the cone
Sure.
zone, that is really stuck in everybody's head, I'm
Right.
sure. What is the move over?
What does it mean? Basically, what it means is that by law, folks that drive through and see Caltrans vehicles or ambulance that have flashing lights on
Okay, right.
need to slow down and to move over if safe to do so. If there's another lane that they can pull over to, they need to do that. So that is the move over law, is basically to slow down and move over as they see flashing lights in our vehicles.
Okay. When will we see those vehicles? I'm trying to picture in my head. You mean like, when they would be pulling cars through, or like, bringing cars through a road that is narrow because you're working on it? Or?
Right. An example, when we do some maintenance activities out there, sometimes we have moving closures. And so our vehicles that have flashing lights out there,
Right.
usually white and orange, and as we do maintenance activities out there, sometimes we have to close the lane or work off the shoulder. And so people drive through there. If you see our vehicles with flashing lights on, they need to slow down and pull over to the next lane. And that's when, and that's what we ask people to do.
Okay, let's bring it home, make it a little real. You're wearing a pin here. It says a day to remember, 2011, I believe that says.
That is correct.
And how many fatalities has Caltrans had in the last few years? Or
Unfortunately,
these are real people.
yes,
okay?
these are
So,
real people. We've been counting since 1924. Since then, we've lost 178 Caltrans workers that was
gosh.
killed on their job. Just to be real, just last year in 2011,
Okay.
why I carried this pen, because we've lost 3 other highway workers just all in 48 days. And that is just very unfortunate.
Okay,
So
and
safety is very important.
I would
to our
hope people
highway workers.
would think, it's real people. They're out there working. They got families, and
Yes.
you imagine being at work and just being hit by a car. I mean,
And this goes the same for the motorists. Caltrans is really
Yeah.
committed to ensure that everybody comes home to their loved ones at the end of the day. And that's both the traveling public and our workers out there on our highways. So it's very important that we
so
pay
we
attention.
really want to put that safety point. That's really something, and that's the driver that's putting all those guys at risk. And they're out there working. Well, we want to drive through at the same time, right?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, now, there's a lot of construction going on out there, so another reason to be careful. When I was just down in L.A., of course, we went through a time there wasn't a lot of the workers working, but they certainly would be there during the workday. Now, there's a lot. Where are we working? Why is there so much work being done at Caltrans right now?
Well, this is great news that I'd like to share for the department. Just this last year, we've delivered about $3 billion worth of construction projects.
Mm-hmm.
And as a matter of fact, over the past 6 years, we've delivered over 1,700 projects that are worth about $16 billion. And to bring it closer to District 10, we have projects in construction right now that are worth about $600 million. So there's a lot of activities that are going out there in construction. We've delivered a majority of our program out to construction, and so it's very much important to, again, bring it back to being aware as you drive through our highways and our highway workers.
All those jobs are, that are out there, that people are, using this money, spending this money. What are some of the jobs, the areas that are getting this money? If you follow my vernacular. In other words, like what? The crews, concrete.
Well,
what
Well, the
what are
contractor,
some of the things?
some of the things that we do in our highways, of course, is we widen our pavement and add extra lanes for mobility. So that requires materials, cement, concrete. So they would need to get those types of supplies. And, of course, the contractor would be to their best interest to look for the local areas that can provide that type of source of material so they can build our projects. So as we contract these projects out through the bid process, the contractors need to go out there and make sure, in addition to that, they need to, required by law, to hire a certain percentage of small business enterprises, such as, in addition to that, they got to be certified. Along with that, they have to hire certain amounts of disabled veterans business enterprise also. So that provides
Did
opportunities
you, I
for
believe
others.
at one time we did a story that maybe you had a school. Is there something or a class that goes on once a year or sometimes for smaller contractors to find out how they qualify to get Caltrans?
Throughout
Right.
the state, we do have a small business department that does those outreach. And so Caltrans in District 10, we've held several small business, I would say,
Workshops?
workshops,
Okay.
exactly. And we invite a lot of small business folks to come in and try to help them get certified and work through that process. We do that also statewide.
Okay. Well, we're talking about projects, and I know you have a big freeway project going on down there.
In Stockton?
Right.
Yes. We
Talk
got
about that a little bit. That I'm sure a lot of people here go down to Stockton. So tell us about that project.
Well, that's a $90 million project, and we are actually adding lanes in the median to improve mobility through Stockton. The great news about those widening those lanes and widening the bridges is that pavement is being designed to last a very long time. We're talking about 40 to 50 years.
You putting something new in it to give it more life?
Reinforcement, reinforced steel bars through the concrete.
Okay.
Yes,
That's great. And concrete that's not going to wear out like the asphalt.
that's correct.
Okay.
Lasts a lot longer.
And is that through all the lanes, or do you do that basically in the truck lanes or the heavier lanes, or
It'll be in the inside lanes of the medium, which is basically for the regular vehicles,
Okay.
not the trucking.
Okay. All right. Okay. So right here, we talked a little about the Jackson Valley rehabilitation, what we're doing down there.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we touched on that enough. Seems like we might have just maybe one more minute. So quickly, how about the roundabout that might be going in at Highway 49 on Main Street out there in Plymouth? Is that on schedule?
Well, right now that project is in the environmental phase, and what we're doing right now is working very closely with the Amador County Transportation Commission. They're the lead agency for that project, and we provide oversight. During the environmental phase, which we're in, we're studying various alternatives. That includes the roundabout that you mentioned, or signalizing it, or other minor improvements we can do at that intersection.
Okay. Quickly, maybe you can talk to the Pine Grove. Well, first of all, there's a retaining wall that's going on. I think most people know about the 88 widening, but the retaining wall, when do you think that'll be completed?
Well, that should be a quick project. We should complete that within the next 30, 60
Okay.
60
Look
working
to
days.
me like it's coming along really
It's
good.
coming real fast.
Okay, I drive by it often.
Yes.
Okay, really good having you here,
Yeah, thank you,
visiting us
Tom.
here, Dennis.
I appreciate
and, stay with us. We'll have a break, then we'll be back.
You're watching Amador County's #1 news and sports leader,